Devin Hester, you are ridiculous.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Shut up. See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0.
Hungry Chicago, finally champions on this January day in New Orleans.
This is the Barely Qualified Podcast with your hosts, Nick Labris, Jason Maxwell, and Drew Bailey.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Barely Qualified Podcast. I'm Drew Bailey. With me as always is Nick Labris, and tonight Jason Maxwell running a little late. He's got some things that are going on, but should be on with us sooner rather than later. But we're going to carry on. I was glad to be able to listen to the podcast from last Thursday after the birth of Nate the Great. But I was very happy, more than that, Nick, to celebrate in a Bears win for the first of my son's Bears fandom career. I'm going to force that on him. We're going to make sure that happens. But really, really quick, Nick, I mulled over the title for this show between what I chose with They Can't Keep Getting Away with This or We're Taking Back the North. And I thought it was probably a bit too preemptive. Being a superstitious person, I think it'd put a jinx on it if I said We're Taking Back the North too early on this one. But seemingly They Can't Keep Getting Away with This is just fitting for what the Bears have done over the last few weeks and all of their wins over the 7-1 streak that they are on. Yesterday kind of did the copy pasta against the Vikings, what they did in week 1, but at least they turned the tide and pulled this one out. We'll talk a little bit about the game. We'll talk a little bit how the Bears stand in the NFC North after some crazy games yesterday. And then we'll talk the rest of the NFL and round it out with the podium list. If Jay doesn't show up, we'll just do a couple of picks between me and you, Nick. But really quick, before we get into the Bears game, want to tell you all a little bit about our friends over at Lola's Handcrafted Churros in downtown Lyle. Lola's offers up handcrafted churros from scratch, made to order and piping hot. Doesn't stop there. Lola's pairs these bad boys with ice cream sundaes. We're talking about s'mores churro sundae, matcha fruity pebbles, Nutella, and strawberry. The list goes on and on. Get a sundae, get a dozen, just stop in for one. Whatever you do, you're going to love it. They have coffee, horchata, freshly made churros, ice cream, and as a wise man once said, what more could you want? Check them out at Lola, L-O-L-A, churros.com. Follow them on Insta and TikTok at Lola's Handcrafted Churros and let us know how you like it. So let's get into it. But quick, Nick, you just gave me an update. I wasn't really watching the game. Looks like I'm close to being chopped in the second person off of the podcast Fairly Qualified Guillotine League, but Trey Tucker did just catch a touchdown, so we're in the potential here, and I'll keep you updated because I just I'll keep you updated because it looks like I just got the game on. And Nick, yes, I will check out what's going on with my mic settings. But before any of that, before we talk about the Guillotine League or anything like that or live updates, we got to talk about the Bears game. I'm going to kick it over to you to start talking about that, and I'm going to figure out my mic here.
All right. Yeah, it sounds good. So, on Thursday when I was talking to Jay, the big thing that was said was, this is a division game on the road. I don't really care how it looks. I just want to see the Bears end up winning this game. That was my only goal. I think Jay and I both kind of realized that there was a good chance this was going to be a sloppy game, similar to a lot of the Bears games the last few weeks. And honestly, like I said, all I wanted to do was see the Bears win the game, and they did. But once that's over, we can kind of go through and kind of look at what happened and what, things Bears need to clean up and everything, because this was far from a perfect game. So, like you mentioned off the top, this game felt like a carbon copy of the Vikings game, the Week 1 Vikings game. Bears seemingly dominated the game, but didn't dominate the scoreboard most of the game. But it never felt like the Vikings were in the game. JJ McCarthy looked like the worst quarterback in the NFL. And then lo and behold, the fourth quarter comes around and the Vikings kind of come storming. I don't want to say storming back because they had like one good drive. The Bears offense just didn't really do a whole lot in the game. So the Vikings came back. They actually took the lead in the fourth quarter. And then our guy, Devin Duvernay, who we've had nothing but positive things to say about all season, definitely haven't asked him to be off the roster or anything. He takes that kickoff almost to the house, and next thing you know, the Bears are a play away from field goal range, which another guy who we've said nothing but positive things about, Cairo Santos, guy who is him lining up for a game-winning like 50-yard field goal is never going to be a comfortable feeling. No. And it was not. And honestly, that field goal looked bad from the jump, and it just kind of did not. It just stayed. It just barely snuck in that left upright. But again, we'll take a win where we can get it. So, I mean, excuse me. Like I said, the Bears did dominate this time of possession, 37 to 23 minutes. So they really did dominate that. And then it's just, settling for field goals is not good. You see way too much of Cairo Santos out there. Really need to see the offense put the ball in the end zone. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass because Brian Flores is a really good defensive coordinator. Division game, weird things, it is what it is, but you would like to see them put the ball in the end zone a little bit more. But shout out to the Bears special teams, though. Like, Bears special teams a couple weeks ago was an absolute train wreck. This week, they kicked 4 field goals, including the game-winning field goal. Like I said, Devin Duvernay had that big return that set up the game-winning field goal. So the Bears special teams had a really good day, which is a big turnaround from what was it, the Bengals game a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They gave up a touchdown, had a field goal blocked. Like, it was just an absolute dumpster fire. So they turned it around a lot this week. And honestly, elephant in the room, Drew, I think you agree with me here, but my God, JJ McCarthy is not a good quarterback. He's not the guy, right? I mean, there's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completion rate. I mean, even though him and Caleb had a similar completion rate, it just looked like he was playing a different game out there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he threw 2 interceptions. One of them was a good play by Nashawn Wright. The other one was a really bad throw, ill-advised throw. He threw a slant route about 10 yards late to, I don't even know who he was trying to throw it to, maybe Jordan Addison. I can't remember who he was throwing it to, but Kevin Byard picked it off. Just a horrible, you just can't do that in the NFL. But besides the interceptions, Caleb had his share of misses as well, but it just felt like every third down, JJ McCarthy dropped back and he had a guy open and just missed him by 10 yards.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll take that, right? I'm not going to complain about an inaccurate quarterback on the other side, especially when that quarterback was taken, in the same draft class as Caleb. I'm happy to watch him struggle.
Of course.
And I do think that a lot of Caleb's misses, I think, there were a lot of drops on the Bears again. There were, I think, 5 or 6 drops in this game for the Bears receivers, which that's 2 weeks in a row with the drops. Got to clean that up. But I do think that his stats, were hit dinged a little bit because of that. But also, I don't think Caleb brought his A game in this game. You can give, you can say he had a bad game. You can say Brian Flores' defense was just, giving him fits. I don't really know. All I know is that his game was not as efficient as we've grown accustomed to. But still no turnovers. So that's definitely a positive. Still threw for almost 200 yards, which is not a lot, but still, I mean, usually we're kind of used to seeing bad Bears quarterback play end up being 15 for 34 for 120 yards and 2 picks. So it wasn't that. It was something else. It was a little bit better. He still made some good throws. It did feel like he was felt like he tried more to be on time and not to scramble so much, which was nice to see.
Yeah.
I don't know how were you able to actually catch this game, or were you where were you on your way home? Were you home by then? What was going on with you?
We were home. We got home on Saturday, but
gotcha.
I was watching in and out. I had my sister-in-law over, so I was they were watching Harry Potter and I was relegated to the iPad. But then again, I was back and forth with Nate as much as I possibly could.
Yeah.
But I watched a surprising amount of the game, and it like we said at the top, it just felt like that game was week one again. And it almost felt like nobody wanted to really win the game because the Bears had several times where they could have just stepped on their throats.
Yep.
And Minnesota didn't want to win the game because JJ can't play quarterback.
Yeah.
But I was, the drops, because we were calling for in our preview show a little bit, or maybe a review show of the Giants game, getting LB3 in there instead of Zacchaeus, and he caught the obvious start since Zacchaeus was out. But yeah, it had the same sort of problems. A couple of Stonehand drops that even you could see Caleb was visibly a little upset about. So I'm confident that stuff like that will get cleaned up. I was just, again, it's just so weird to feel that these games are turning the way that they are after for so long they have gone the wrong way. And it's something different every time, Nick, which is weird. That's a weird thing that I feel is it's not necessarily Caleb winning every single game. Like, the special team stepped up this time. Defense has stepped up sometimes. It's really just weird. And maybe that's what is good about it is like different aspects step up. But just in an overall stance of like, we're 7-3. Doesn't feel like a 7-3 team, but at the same time, we're gonna roll with it.
Yeah, and by the way, we're over 10 minutes into the show. We haven't mentioned that the Bears are now sole possession of first place in the NFC North. I'm not looking at a statistic because I don't have that off the top of my head, but if I had to guess, probably the first time the Bears have been in sole possession of first place this late in the season since 2018. I would imagine. I can't imagine it's happened anytime since then.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. I do think, and we're going to talk more about Ben Johnson later, but I think that a lot of what you're talking about is just the Ben Johnson effect. Something about the coaching, maybe not necessarily him specifically, but the coaching staff. The coaching staff just has the players believing some way, shape, or form in these games they're going to win. And I don't know what it is, but I do have a fun stat for you. I don't know if you saw it. I added it to your rundown here.
Get it?
Okay. Where'd it go? I want to make sure I get it completely right. So basically, okay. So fun stat of the week. In 6 road games this season so far, Ben Johnson is 4-2. So he's 1-4, lost 2 road games so far. The entire Matt Eberflus era, do you know how many road games he had? He won 3 road games.
Okay.
He was 3-17 in his entire time as the Bears head coach on the road. So in 6 road opportunities, Ben Johnson already has more road wins than Matt Eberflus ever did in his tenure as the Bears head coach.
Jeez.
So something like, you can chalk it up to luck. You can chalk it up to bad opponents. You can chalk it up to a lot of things. The Bears played a lot of bad teams under Matt Eberflus. Bears have played a lot of bad teams under other coaches.
Yeah.
Bears are winning these games. So something this coaching staff is doing is working. I don't really want to read too much into it. I think that's just the coaching staff has the players believing. And I think that's really as simple as that. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was really funny to see that Ben Johnson already has more road wins than Eberflus did.
Yeah, not a hard stat to beat, but in your first season, for sure, it's relatively impressive.
It's week 11.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's barely halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm.
So had to shout out Eberflus whenever I get a chance to, especially since we're watching his defense right now. But anyway, so let's talk a little offense. We talked a little bit about Caleb already. His numbers, his numbers aren't great. 16 for 32, exactly 50%, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 193 yards. Very average to below average. Actually, that is below average. Those are below average numbers right there. There were some drops, but honestly, I think that there was a combination of things. Like I said before, the bad game, Brian Flores defense, whatever you want to call it, road game. He was still like the one thing about Caleb that you gotta love is that even when he's having an off game, he can't like that switch of like he doesn't flip that switch on like his scrambling. It's just always on. It is like there was a point like he did eventually get sacked twice in one drive, but prior to that, I was like, this guy might just never get sacked again because
Mhm.
it's impossible how he gets out of some of these sacks. There was one where I think it was a defensive back, had a free blitz at him, and Caleb didn't see him until he was basically tackling him, and somehow he got out of it. I could not believe he got out of it. I like made an audible noise, like watching the game, like, whoa, like how did this guy get out of that?
Yeah.
Like it was insane.
The Chris Berman. What?
Yeah, exactly. So that's always going to be there, and it's exciting. I'll be honest though, I would like to see. It does feel like a lot of times he scrambles and kind of throws an incompletion or can't find. I would love to turn into those situations where he gets out of the pocket, like he makes someone miss, gets out of the pocket, and he finds someone like wide open downfield for a
Yeah.
big gain, or even like positive yards. Because I feel like too many of those are incomplete, which I'll take the incomplete pass versus the sack, right? Obviously, but I would like to see that turned into more positive stuff. But to stay on the offense, like DeAndre Swift had a nice game. He had 21 rushes for 90 yards. He did get his touchdown vultured by Monungai. Monungai didn't really get as much run as I thought he was going to, but he did get that touchdown. So the Bears' run game was pretty solid. We talked about this on Thursday. The Vikings' defense is surprisingly below average at run defense, so we kind of had a feeling the run game was going to be pretty solid. The pass catchers, though, that was the thing. A lot of drops. Luther Burden had a couple of drops. I want to say, I don't know, Rome might have dropped a ball. There were a couple more drops. There were like 4 or 5 drops in this game. But Cole Kmet, I thought, had a pretty nice game. It felt like when he got the ball, he was trying to like just maul people. Like he was trying to like initiate all the contact, which he always does, but it's good to see. Rome and DJ really didn't do a whole lot. Rome had 2 catches for 41 yards. DJ 1 for 18. Colson Loveland had a decent game, 3 catches for 40 yards. I wanted to call out DJ Moore specifically. Do you think this is more a trend we're going to start seeing? Because DJ Moore, it almost feels like he has not been a huge part of the game plan this season most weeks. He had that big game in Cincinnati, but besides that, it just feels like he's just another guy out there. Part of that could be the injury problems. He's been dealing with a bunch of nagging injuries this season. Are you concerned about the DJ Moore lack of production or lack of involvement in the game plan?
I kind of am. I'm not gonna lie to you that he comes out on at the beginning of the season as wide receiver 1, had a good season last year and the previous, and looks like he's strong. Got his contract, got his money. I just feel like, yes, the injuries are a problem, but it feels like DJ is just getting slotted into what's the word I'm looking for? Just nowheresville, if you will. That's a terrible, just like,
Oh, I know what you mean.
He's not being looked at as a number 1 target for Caleb. Not exactly getting schemed for. Yes, he got 1 carry in the game, so it's like Ben Johnson wants to get him his touches, but it's more like he has to get him his touches. But yeah, I for the amount of money that we paid DJ Moore, I am concerned that he's going to get passed up as wide receiver 1. He's probably going to get further down as these tight ends, and Colston looks a little bit better. It just seems like he's not the DJ Moore we've seen in the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, and I'll do you one better. I think he has been passed as the wide receiver 1. I don't think there's any doubt that Rome Odunze is the number 1 receiver on this team. Surprised that he didn't have as much of an impact on this game as well. But again, I've said it like 4 or 5 times in the show already. I do think Brian Flores is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. I think him and Vic Fangio are probably the 2 guys that are your 2 best DCs in the league. So I imagine they probably schemed up something to keep Rome Odunze out of the game plan as well. So, but yeah, I definitely agree with you. DJ Moore is getting paid a lot of money to get 3 targets in a game that you really need to pass the ball. So I think that there's still more gas in the tank. Like he's had games where he can do it. So I don't think it's like, like when the Bears had Allen Robinson his last year, like you can tell the dude was just like out of gas. He just like, didn't have it anymore.
Yeah, didn't have the run.
And DJ Moore, I feel like he does. It's not that. I don't think that's the case. So we'll see. I guess we'll kind of monitor it as things move forward. But speaking of the pass catchers, it is nice to see Caleb move the ball around as much as he has been. 16 completions, but he hit 7 different pass catchers for that, which is nice to see. He's not just focusing on 1 or 2 guys. He's kind of all over the place, which you love to see because, if you spread the ball out, that makes the defense's job even harder to stop somebody. So love him, getting the ball to everybody. Thought that was really nice to see. And honestly, I think he's been doing a pretty good job of that lately too, just in general. There's been a lot of spreading out the ball, which is good. A lot of times with young quarterbacks specifically, they like to focus on like that number 1 guy. And it's nice that that's not necessarily the case here. Maybe because they don't have a bona fide number 1 guy, but still it's good to see him pass the ball around a little bit. Running game, like I said, running game has been really the kind of the backbone of this team ever since the bye, really. The Bears have been just running the ball at a pretty good clip. So you got to love that. Keep that moving forward. And kind of hand in hand with the run game, the O-line has been doing so good the last like 4 or 5 weeks. They had a couple penalties this week, but besides that, I thought the O-line still playing really well. Only a couple pressures, only 2 sacks, which came late in the game. And it happened, sacks are going to happen eventually, but I thought the O-line had a pretty nice game overall. So I thought those were good things. I don't know if you have anything you want to talk about one of those things.
No, I mean, the running game is very much encouraging to see DeAndre come back, take a heavy load. Well, actually, it was back for the Giants, but getting back to the heavier load, but it just indicates that Ben Johnson knows what he wants to do. He wants to control a game. Nick, we say it every week. I get concerned with these games that it feels like they should win them by a lot, or they should crush this team. And it turns into this game of it's only 1 possession.
Yeah.
It's definitely only going to be a 1 possession game. So I'm waiting for that to bite us in the ass. But right now, working really, really well, especially if your running game can get you 150 plus yards every week.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, look, when Cairo Santos missed that field goal to move it from a 6-point lead to a 9-point lead, I think everybody in Chicago watching the game knew exactly what was going to happen. Again, the Bears have been dominating that game completely. Cairo Santos missed a field goal that would have been a 2-possession game, and then Vikings. I knew Vikings were going to go in there and they were going to score. The question was going to be if there's going to be enough time for the Bears to do something with the ball, and that was the answer. That was almost no. But again, thank God for a good kick return that put us in field goal range, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is just, it kind of goes back to like the Bears having troubles finishing drives. Like they move the ball. They have these like 13, 14 play drives, then field goals. Like those need to be touchdowns. That's just really what it is. You score touchdowns instead of field goals on 3 of those drives, you're winning. You're walking away like as a laugher. You're up 35 to 3 going into the 4th quarter, whatever, 28-3 or whatever it is. So you need to score touchdowns instead of field goals. You can't have the field goals so much. But it is what it is. You're getting the wins. So I think that's all you can really take away from this so far. We thought this season was going to be lucky to get 8 to 9 wins. And right now we're sitting at 7-3 on top of the division. I don't think we're going to stay there. Let's be honest. I don't think we're going to stay there, but it is good to be here right now. So in fact, I saw the odds. The Bears are currently, again, sole possession of first place. I believe the Lions had like an 87% chance of winning the division. Packers might have like a 75% chance or something like that, and the Bears have like a 44% chance. So definitely still not being respected in the odds, which honestly, fair. Bears have a gauntlet coming up.
Yeah.
Like the Bears are the Steelers next week, which they're favored by 3. We'll talk about it on Thursday. Besides that, though, going to be an absolute gauntlet to the end of the season, minus the Browns. So we can talk, and then to talk about some of the other things, some of the negatives I really wanted to touch on. Season low in points, 19 points, not great. Only 1 touchdown, settled for field goals. Talked about it. Need to put bad teams away. these are great to have these wins, but also like I would like to just watch the Bears win a 27-10 win and not have to really sweat it out at the end. That would be kind of cool. I think my doctor would appreciate that as well.
Well, and they're not coming against, like you said,
no, for sure.
against the teams that they're about to go up against. Those games are not coming to where it's going to be, you're going to have to grind to get wins. You're not going to have a team, maybe other than the Browns, just lay down for you and give you a win by multiple touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this week got the Steelers coming up. It sounds like Aaron Rodgers broke his left wrist in the game on Sunday.
Amazing.
So you're going to get a Mason Rudolph game on Sunday, which makes you feel a little bit better, I think. I think the bad man coming to town again made everyone, I mean, I don't know, it made me a little scared of Aaron Rodgers kind of doing the old Aaron Rodgers magic.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph does not scare me in the slightest bit, especially with that pedestrian Steelers offense. So we'll dive more into that game on the Thursday show. I touched a little bit about this a minute ago, but the penalties and the O-line, I thought the O-line played a really good game. They were really good at blocking. Still had some penalties. Darnell Wright had an illegal formation penalty. Theo had a false start. Rome had an illegal formation penalty. Just a lot of these penalties that you like that are very avoidable. You don't need to be making these penalties. Like holding is going to, like I said this before, holding is going to happen. Pass interference is going to happen. Face masks are going to happen. False starts and illegal formations, like that stuff is just even false starts. You know what? There's one false start in this game on the road in a loud environment. I can't even live with that. Illegal formation, though, that's like, you guys got to figure that out. We're in week 11. This needs to be figured out. We can't be having illegal formations.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Oh, sorry. Going into week 11, and you have multiple pre-snap penalties that don't include even starting, like you're going towards the play. It's bad. I guess that shows just the complexity of this offense, though, Nick. I want to try to turn a positive note towards it because there's got to be something. It's a common theme. It's happened. It's again and again and again. And that's why you're in negative 25 net count for season penalties with a negative 254 yards on top of that. It's scary to see, but at the same time, if you can do that and you're 7-3, wow, more power to you.
Yeah, it's honestly a testament to, I don't even really know. I don't even like, it's not really a testament. I don't know. It's like just, it's crazy that the Bears, like they're not winning with like flashy offense. Their defense has been very mediocre at best. Somehow they're overcoming these penalties, and I can't quite put my finger on it other than maybe some kind of coaching magic. So I'll take it when I can get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to move on to talk a little defense because we haven't really given them a lot of credit. And I think that the defense played really well, again, minus the fourth quarter. Just like I said, copy and paste whatever we said about the Vikings game in week 1. Pretty much apply the same thing here. 2 interceptions. Like I said, Nahshon Wright, Kevin Byard, both picks. Which, by the way, brings the Bears' season takeaway differential up to plus 16, which is the best in the NFL by 6. The next best is plus 10. So they have a 22 takeaways to 6 giveaways with 15 interceptions on the season. So the Bears' defense is elite at taking the ball away. And that's kind of it. But they're elite at that, which is good.
And that's a great thing, especially against a quarterback that is unsure of themselves. I don't think you're going to see that going down the rest of the season, but hopefully you pick up in the pressures, the other sides to create those takeaways. I thought Nahshon Wright's, that was one of the plays that I was actually watching live. I thought that was one of the best interceptions I've seen so far this year in the NFL. Yeah. Just the way that he dove and caught that and came down, looked like he injured himself or he came down on the ball or something like that. But he might be a little suspect as our cornerback too right now, but he does make some flashy plays. And it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about a guy who coming into the season was like probably on the fringe of making the roster, and he has had to step up and be a big contributor to the team just due to injuries. And honestly, like, yeah, he's gotten burned a few times and he's probably not great a lot in coverage, but he does make those flashy plays. He's got 4 interceptions on the season, which is pretty good. You know, you're in the NFL, we got 4 interceptions. Like, that's a dude who's making the most of his opportunity. So whether it's with the Bears or somebody else, that dude's going to be on his team next year, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to look at
He's going
someone
to
who's
get a
4
contract.
interceptions.
You take the ball away 4 times in a season, someone's going to pay you to be a cornerback.
100%.
Sure.
Absolutely. So good for him. I believe his celebration after the interception. I don't know if you saw the Last Chance U coach passed away this week. From that Netflix show, the coach on that show, he passed away this week. And Nashawn Wright, I don't know if he played for him at Last Chance U or somewhere else along the way, but he played for that coach. So that was kind of his moment, his tribute to him as well, and did like a little prayer or whatever for him at the end. So I think that had a lot to do with what his what the post interception reaction was. So shout out to Nashawn Wright, because he's been one of the unsung heroes on the team this year. Stepping up in a way when Jalen Johnson went down that not a lot of people could have in his position. So shout out to him. The defense also, again, Montez lost his sack streak. He had gone, I believe it was 5 straight with a sack, 4 straight with a sack. I don't remember exactly what it was.
It's 4 or 5. You're right on it.
But no sacks at all for the Bears in this game. So that's over. And I don't know, there was almost no pressure on JJ McCarthy, but Drew, I don't know, you want to talk about this? Honestly, I don't think that was a bad thing.
Yeah, it seems like JJ, at least when he beat us in week 1, he was better when he was moving around the pocket and outside the pocket and actually choosing to run. Didn't run once in this game, which is very bad, because I definitely had him to run for 15 yards in a parlay. Didn't happen. Only thing that lost. But it feels kind of like, and let me draw just a comparison. It kind of feels like Mitch Trubisky when he was doing well, when he was running the ball and kind of pulling down if he couldn't find his first read. It felt like in this game he was waiting way too long to have something develop, and he doesn't have some of the attributes or the strengths of these other quarterbacks in the NFL. So should have pulled the ball down and ran and used what his strength actually is right now in his legs. But that's why you saw a lot of balls sail. You didn't need pressure to get him to make a bad throw. And that kind of speaks to me about his quarterback skills. Is if you can sit in the pocket and you don't have a ton of pressure in your face and you're still missing wide receivers by 2 yards or high, you're not going to make it in this league.
Yeah, it almost felt like, and to bring the Mitch Trubisky and even like Justin Fields a little bit comparison in here, it almost felt like someone told him like, hey, we need you to be more of a pocket passer.
Yeah.
We need you to stop looking for the run. We need you to try and be a pocket passer. And it almost felt like he was trying to do that. And it's just not a skill he has at this moment. So yeah, I mean, again, I'm not going to complain about their quarterback not running and throwing poorly and inaccurate. It definitely helped. It definitely benefited the Bears. There were a lot of plays that he had Hawkinson or Addison or, one of the running backs like wide open for a first down that just were terrible throws and really helped the Bears kind of keep building that lead. So I'm not going to complain about that for sure. I do want to talk a little Ben Johnson though. You mentioned something about his clock management skills. I want to kind of give you the floor. What's going on? What are you thinking there?
So I don't know if it's luck or I don't know if it's strategic planning. It's got to be a little bit of both. But Ben Johnson, it just seems like in these games, he is shining like an absolute diamond in having multiple timeouts or just a good amount of time. Maybe it's coaches on the other side are respecting him that much to where obviously Minnesota goes down, they score with 50 seconds left. That still gives the Bears time to go down the field, even if you don't have a 54-yard kickoff return, like with a timeout in your back pocket. So I don't know what Ben Johnson has in his magic trick of books or whatever he's got. It just is. It's showing the understanding that he has for the game. And Nick, do you think that it's something that because obviously we saw Matt Eberflus did not have that. Is that something that you kind of like are born with as a coach, or you just understand from seeing enough from good play, or what does he have? Because he constantly is in the positive view of these end game scenarios.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, I think he probably studies often, like what would be like, I think he probably has his own like personal like theory and like thought process for like when to use timeouts and game management stuff. Honestly, though, part of it, and this might be crazy, but part of it might be that, Ben Johnson's like our age. He might just because he may have just played a lot of Madden growing up. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that much because most coaches, most of our life coaches have been 10 plus years older than us and kind of missed the video game window. I do think that some of these younger coaches are better at it because they grew up playing Madden and they just like, okay, I know I have this much time. I can burn this is where I spend my timeouts if I want the ball back and all this stuff. So I don't know that for a fact. This is not, I have no idea, but just based on his age and his obsession with football, I would imagine he probably played a lot of Madden growing up. And I think that probably helps his clock management.
Yeah. And that complete, I didn't think about it in that regard. But it makes sense. It makes sense that he has some outside view, because what we've seen in the past is guys that are very close to football, or they're way too into the trenches and the dirtiness of football. Like, it doesn't work out in those little minutia of the details.
Yeah, 100%. You look at you look
that.
at even like Andy Reid, who's one of the best coaches to ever do it. He's horrible with like timeouts and stuff and time management.
Yeah.
That was like a big knock on him before he started winning Super Bowls in Kansas City, was that he couldn't get it done because he was such a bad time manager. And I think that, I don't know. And again, I don't want to put it all in Madden, but like, I do think that the older coaches, like in previous generations, like they didn't put as much emphasis on the game, like the clock management aspect of coaching. Whereas I do think that I don't know about all young coaches, but like Ben Johnson clearly studies it, clearly has a plan, and is not going to deviate from that. So, and one other thing I want to talk about, which is kind of clock management related, I do want to mention that the Bears have a lot of penalties. We talked about it earlier, a lot of pre-snap penalties. One thing you don't see a lot of, which we've seen a lot of in the past like 4 or 5 years with the Bears, you don't see a lot of delay of games. You don't see a lot of like the ball needs to be snapped right now because they came out of the huddle with 2 seconds left or anything like that. So I appreciate that. I think that is a big thing that we don't touch on, because I feel like the past 5-10 years, like every Bears play has barely gotten off. But if I can imagine like Justin Fields like doing that like clapping thing really fast to get the ball.
Quick.
Yeah, right. So I love that. That's like, I do feel like that's part of clock management. It's like, all right, I'm going to get the play in. You're going to hear it. You're going to say it. And we're going to get to the line with like 10 seconds left. So we got plenty of time to make any adjustments or whatever we need to do. So I do think that's also part of clock management, which is definitely a positive.
That, and I think it was a running joke. And I forgot whose fantasy football team name it was for a long time, is first quarter timeouts. The Bears used to absolutely be the professional best at having first quarter timeouts. Like, you didn't have anything understood. I don't want to say never, but I don't think you should ever see a first quarter timeout in a Ben Johnson offense, just because most of it's scripted. You know what you're doing. You know how you're about to go. Now you might have a procedural penalty, but it ain't going to be a first quarter timeout for sure.
Not to go around the league early, but I don't know if you saw any of the Madrid game, the Dolphins Commanders, but the Dolphins literally called the timeout before the first play from scrimmage. They received the kickoff, and then they had to call a timeout when there was 15 minutes left on the first quarter clock. It was insane. It was insane.
It was going to be one of the worst just feelings as either just the team.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, it was. I didn't actually see it, but I saw it going around Twitter. I thought that was funny, so I had to throw that out there. Cool. All right. So injuries for the game. TJ Edwards, he didn't play. Tyreek Stevenson got hurt in the game. Jalen Johnson, though, opened his 21-day return from IR window. So there's a good chance he's going to return sometime on or before the Black Friday game against the Eagles, which is exciting.
Yeah, you need the depth.
Yeah, I mean, if you can take a guy like we talked glowingly about Nahshon Wright like 10 minutes ago or however long ago it was, you can take a guy like him and you can put him back as a depth piece. Your defense is starting to look, it's looking better. Jalen Johnson is one of the best corners in the league. Now, whether he can come back this year and be that guy after missing so much time and having so many soft tissue injuries, I guess that will be seen. But I think that obviously he'll make the defense better.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I was just confused when I put this together. I saw Jalen Johnson practicing. What?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess.
That would be wonderful if we can get him back. I'm trying to look up Tyreek Stevenson injury right now because I don't remember what the situation is there.
I think he came back in the fourth quarter. It was an ankle, I want to say. He was out for a quarter and a half and came back in the fourth. I don't think it's anything hugely concerning, but at the same time, that secondary is so depleted anyway. You just need every piece you can possibly get.
Yeah, I consider myself pretty knowledgeable about who the Bears have on their roster and who's on the field sometimes, but the Bears are putting out corners I've literally never heard of before. So need to get some consistency back there. But yeah. One other thing I want to talk about. So the Bears remaining schedule, we touched on it earlier. The Bears still have the toughest remaining schedule in the league. 3 NFC North games. Unfortunately, none of them are against the Vikings. We've played the Vikings twice, so it's all the hard teams in the NFC North from now on. Have 2 against the Packers. We have a game. The good thing about the Lions is that we have the game in Chicago against the Lions. And I think if you watch the Eagles-Lions game last night, you kind of see the difference between Jared Goff indoors versus Jared Goff in a cold outdoor stadium. So having the Lions late in the season at Soldier Field, that's definitely a positive. I don't know if the Bears are going to win that game, but it definitely helps your chances when you're playing Jared Goff outside in a cold game, as I assume it will be cold in January in Soldier Field.
The other part of that too, Nick, is we keep talking about the schedule, and obviously the North is a very hard division to play in with 2 teams over 500, but if things turn out well over the next 4 games, you don't need to worry about the remaining potentially 5 or 4 other games. You're obviously going to worry about them. I know you gave me kind of like a side look there, but you're playing the Lions in the last game of the season. If you have playoffs locked up, what are you really, are you going for something? Are you going to try, are you going to go hard against them? Because obviously you finish with Packers, 49ers, Lions. But if you have playoffs locked up there, Nick, are you going at the Lions for a win?
I'll be honest with you, that thought has never crept into my head this season.
I know.
I'm just I've been looking at the last 6 games of the season as an absolute gauntlet, just let's see where we are in week 16, 17, 18. But yeah, I mean, if they can't move up, if there's really nothing to play for, I can't imagine why they would. But Ben Johnson seems like a kind of guy who, you come from the Dan Campbell tree, and Dan Campbell is definitely not a guy who's going to sit starters at any point. So I'm not sure exactly. I guess I haven't even thought about that. The reason I gave you that side eye is because I see the Packers in week 16, and I'm like, they're not. I don't care what the situation is. I don't want to I want to beat the Packers twice this year very badly.
But
I don't know if they're going to, but that's what I want.
I know we're not going too far into this. We don't want to. We don't want to look too far down the chain. It's starting to kind of evolve in that we've said this in past episodes this season of we don't want to look into this being a playoff team. We just want it to be a successful season. You kind of have to start looking at it, because if you go 2-2 and you're 9-5 going into the Packers. That's at home. That's at home. Okay, we're in realistic measure here going to be a playoff team. How much do we need to give over these next 3 weeks to be what we want to be now? or more. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely again to a point in the season where I never thought we'd get to, where we can actually look and be like, oh man, there's a decent chance that the last game might not really be meaningful, but in a good way.
yeah,
Like I thought that like the last game of the season would be like, all right, well, the Bears are at 8 wins. I want to get to 9 and have a winning record this season. And that still might honestly be the case. I don't think it will be, but it could be. I'm not trying to take anything for granted here. I think the Bears are in uncharted territory for us right now. But honestly, you look at the schedule. So Steelers this week, if you call the Bears are favored in that game. So if you call that a win, and then they're going to be favored against the Browns in a few weeks. So you give the Bears those 2 wins. That's 9 wins on the season. What do you think makes the playoffs? 10, 11 wins makes the playoffs. So you're talking about going 2-5, 2-3 the rest of the way between against those other teams. I think. I think at this point, if your expectations haven't shifted to playoffs, are like the expectation at this point, like I think you're just not being a fan right, because that's
Yeah.
we went the season saying 8 or 9 wins would be great, and then now we're in the situation where we're on top of the division after week 11. I think anything short of playoffs would be kind of a letdown at this point. So really, the expectations have changed, and I think that that's fair based on how they've played and where their record is.
major problem being other than one team on that list, everyone's probably making the playoffs out of those teams.
Yeah, there's a good chance. Steelers helped their chances this week, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay, so that's gonna wrap up our Bears Vikings talk. Unless you have anything else you want to add overall to the game. So I guess we'll just go ahead and grade it. So Drew, why don't you give me your grades? We'll do offense, defense, and then just overall.
Yeah. Really weird game to grade because it's felt like some of the other games that we played, but just less involved or high octane, if you will. I was watching this game on and off, and it seemed like nothing had changed for a massive amount of time. And by the way, everybody, I'm just going to hit a quick digress. I did end up losing the Guillotine League. So Nick and I, right on the show right now, are the 2 members out. The only member in will be Jay, and he'll come back on Thursday and talk a little bit about his chances. But so this game, the offense just didn't seem like it was 100% clicking to me on all cylinders. Yes, we had some good running. Yes, Caleb had some good plays. It felt like a very just middle of the road kind of manage the game offense, and for that I kind of have to downgrade it to underneath a middle of the road and go with a C-. I think there were a lot of opportunities to where you could have taken over this game like we should have done in week 1, but you ended up on the right side of the road, and you got bailed out by a great special teams play and a field goal to win it. So it wasn't really essentially the offense exactly winning it. The one thing I wanted to say, and before I got deeper into grades, Nick, and I don't think I even wrote it in the rundown, really felt weird to me that last drive after Duvernay's return was just, okay, we'll settle with 3 runs and then we'll kick a field goal. I thought there would have been, with 1 timeout in your pocket, there would have been a little bit more to like, let's get some more chunk yardage. But maybe that's the way that was going with the game, that they saw, okay, we'll just leave it up to a field goal. We're in position.
Yeah. So I thought the same thing. I thought it was a little interesting that they really got conservative there. And especially knowing Cairo Santos does not have the biggest leg in the league, as we've talked a lot about this season. Kind of relying on him to kick. Like, he made a 54-yarder, which was a season long earlier in that game, which I guess maybe they were feeling good about. I think the fact that it was indoors, no weather, that probably helped their decision. If that was an outdoor game, I'm sure they probably would have been a little more aggressive. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it would be a real, like, I don't know. I feel like I've seen the Bears. I know I saw Eberflus do this. I'm pretty sure Nagy did it. Even back to like Tressman, the Bears get in these situations where they get to a point where they think, okay, field goal's given, let's just be conservative now, and then miss the field goal and lose the game.
Yeah.
So that's always in the back of my mind. But in this case, it worked out. So So yeah, it all worked out. But yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry to buff that into grades, but
No, that's good. I'm glad we
it's
got
just
to
weird, a
Yeah.
weird thing that I didn't touch on before.
Yeah.
Defense, I have to give defense at least a B with this game. It was a game, yes, you're playing in under, gosh, I would say almost underqualified quarterback.
Barely qualified
on the other side, but there are a lot of pieces on that team that can make them at least 500 or a decent contender in the NFC North. You've seen that in the past couple of seasons. So I got to give them a B. They're still taking the ball away. That's what we love to see. We want them to be ball hawks. And it kept us in control of the game with everything that they were doing. 3 points through 3 quarters. How could you ask for anything more as a defense? And then overall, I'm just going with a solid C because we expect more from this team at this point of the season, especially being 7-3 or 6-3 to that point. I think that the effort needs to be a lot better, and we need to see a lot more consistency on the offensive side. Defense is giving us, essentially, from my perspective, all that they can give in this. And yes, we had the kicker of some special teams effort, so that's why we didn't drop any lower than a C in the overall effort. But for this game, it turned out better than it did week 1, and I'm just going to say that's, to this point of the season, a solid C.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm going to echo your thoughts on the offense. I'm going to give the offense, the running game showed up. They were pretty solid. So, but the passing game left a lot to be desired, and just the overall offense, like they settled for a lot of field goals. So I'm gonna give the offense also a C minus. Defense, I thought the defense played really well for 3 quarters, and then the last drive they kind of just let the Vikings have whatever they wanted. But that also could be like I said earlier, the Vikings did have a lot of bad throws on open players, and maybe just JJ hit the open player in the 4th quarter. I'm gonna give the defense a B, and then overall, I'm going to give the Bears overall a B minus simply because average them out, you put them at a C plus. But I thought the special teams was outstanding, so that kind of puts it over the top to a B minus for the day. So I'll give the Bears a B minus in this game. Still winning games without their A game, so I'd like to see that A game. We keep talking about how the theoretical A game is going to be awesome when we see it. I would love to see it. We'll get there. I think we'll get there at some point.
Before the end of the season, I'd love to see it. Yes,
I would as well. I think the Cowboys game was the only real evidence of an A game that the Bears have put out there so far. I'd like to see more of that. Just as a total team. Like obviously the offense has looked great, the defense has been better, but the Cowboys game was the only game where they put the whole thing together. So I'd like to see more of that.
And I think the reason why we're grading them so hard too is we don't really throw into these grades the coaching aspect or give the coaching rating, but like there is so much to do with positives right now with coaching for us that lifts some of these grades higher, or puts them a little bit lower just because of the expectations that we have in what we've been seeing in our coaches throughout the season.
One more thing I wanted to throw out there really quick is that I've been tracking this all season. I have not mentioned it this week. So as of right now, Caleb Williams is on pace for just 39, 59 passing yards is on pace for. So we're just under that trend of on pace for 4,000. So we're going to need to see him pick that up at some point. Again, don't really care. Just want that narrative to die. So again, we're about 40 yards short of pace right now. So we need to average about 239 passing yards the rest of the season to hit that 4,000 mark, which is ever elusive. So I just really want to see that.
I will say I do have a future on that.
Yeah. Well, I wish you good luck on that. And I also I just want that to be over. I don't care.
Yes. Stopping something that we track or have to track because Caleb has made that a statement.
Correct. That'd be great. But okay. That's going to do it for Bears. Drew, you want to take us around the league?
Yeah. Talk a little around the league. Not going to lie, Nick, other than the Bears game, I was watching some red zone here or there, trying to track football games. It just felt like, I don't know if you felt like this. It felt like a very underwhelming week of football. Not a lot of like marquee games that were out there. Not a lot of things that you were tracking or really really cool. Other than
Yeah.
a couple of negatives, but from the North perspective, made us feel very good. Obviously, you beat the Vikings. Lions played an absolute dud of a game
Yeah,
last night,
that sucked.
and the Eagles. It got to a point where I was watching that game and I go, what should I do? Should I continue to watch this game or should I take the dogs for a walk and
Yeah.
then put Nate to bed? I chose walk in bed because
Yeah.
I did not want to watch that game anymore. But you touched on it. The Jared Goff outside versus Jared Goff in a dome is a stat that is definitely trackable.
Yeah.
Are you
oh, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No, you go.
I was just going to say, like, I was, in 2018 when Jared Goff was on the Rams came to Chicago. They were like undefeated, I think, at that point. And I was at that game and I like watched Jared Goff like be miserable in the cold. Like I seen it like in person. Like it's real. He does not like being outside. You saw he had 2 gloves on yesterday. That's like, like it wasn't even that cold. It was a little windy. It wasn't even that cold in Philadelphia. So, yeah, that if you can get him outside, that's another reason why I think the Week 18 game against Lions isn't. But if it comes down to like the Bears Lions division winners, if you have a chance to like host them in a playoff game, if it comes down to that down the line, you want that. You don't want to go there. You want to host them. You want them to play outside. But yeah, that game stunk. I didn't think the Eagles were particularly good either, but the Lions were just dreadful.
Yeah. And I think what we've seen in the trend with the Lions is the way that you stop them early. Even if Jared Goff passes for 340 yards, they've lost some games because of that. Like you stop this run game first, they are not going anywhere. They're not winning a ball game because if Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't break a ton of stuff and David Montgomery doesn't get active around the red zone, Detroit's not winning a ball game. So that's good to see, and that obviously put us in tops of the North. I don't know, Nick. I've been seeing a lot of this lately. Maybe it's because my second fandom is Philadelphia. That's a joke. It's not. But all over Twitter, all over the social medias, there's this Chicago-Philly alliance that is going on because the Bears are now 3-0 against the NFC East, and Philly is now 3-0 against the NFC North. Yes, they still have to play each other, but is that just a kind of like conspiracy theory that everyone's going through, or is that like just a fun little thing to track, or what? Have you seen that and you're just joking around with it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Jay and I talked about it on Thursday a little bit, but yeah, I think it's a fan alliance more than anything. The players obviously don't care. They're just going to try and beat everyone that's in front of them. It's a fun little fan alliance where we get to have a little mutual handshake agreement to, I don't know. It's
to
fun.
Beat each other's teams. Yeah.
I like it. Going to Philadelphia in a couple weeks on the Black Friday game is going to be tough. Again, I don't think the Eagles are particularly good, but I do think they do a lot of things that the Bears aren't very good at. Like they're an elite running team when they want to be, and they have elite wide receivers when they want to use them. And both of those things hurt the Bears. So if they can scheme them up, which they should be able to, that might be an ugly game, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, that is a fun thing. And I'm happy that they were able to hold up their end of the bargain this week. That makes me,
that was fun to see. The one part of whatever NFC alliance I wish would have been better is the Giants beating Green Bay. Didn't happen. Although I feel like watching it in what parts I did, I don't know if you watched it anymore. It seemed like the Giants could have and should have won that game at some points because of some of the injuries that were going on. Jordan Love got injured halfway through the game, came back. Josh Jacobs got hurt 3/4 of the way through the game, and Green Bay somehow pulled it off to win. But Jameis Winston playing that game just looked different than, yes, he's got a little bit more of the moxie that Jackson Dart does. But can I ask you this? Why was Russell Wilson ever the quarterback for this team?
I think that question is why Brian Dable is no longer the coach of the New York Giants. I
There
think
you
there's a
go.
good chance, you got Jackson Dart, an electric rookie. You got Jameis Winston, who, yeah, he's got some interception problems, and he's probably not like a good quarterback, but he can be good, and you can bottle up a little bit of that, and is at least exciting and like get your offense like involved. Like if he would have started from the season, like from the get go, Malik Neighbors would have had a much better season before he got hurt because he's not afraid to throw it deep. He's not afraid to take chances. Russ is just this ultra conservative. If it's not wide open, I'm throwing it into the ground, not taking any chances, playing the most boring brand of football you could possibly imagine. So I don't know why James. I never like the Giants signed Jameis first, and then they signed Russ like a week after that. I never understood why they did that. That just seemed like a waste of money because what do you need both of them for?
If that doesn't speak to more looking at your internal structure versus
Right.
your head coach getting fired, like GM's probably not the guy, whoever that is. I think he was on Hard Knocks, or
He
they did like
was.
the Hard Knocks. Yeah,
He was. He
yeah,
was the guy that traded Saquon or didn't re-sign Saquon, and he was
right.
all over social
That's
media for
right.
that and stuff. So,
Yeah,
ugh,
weird.
yeah.
But even so Green Bay advances. We're still ahead of them. They're 6-3-1. We're 7-3. Feels good to be on top of the North right now, but at the same time, we know there's a lot of football still to
Oh, yeah.
play in this division. Although with the two injuries, Jordan Love getting injured, I don't know. Do you know what got injured for him?
Yeah, I believe it was his left shoulder.
Left shoulder. So
Yeah, so
nothing.
he should be. I mean, he came back into the game. He should be fine. Josh Jacobs, though, I mean, I don't think he came back. So that might if Josh Jacobs can come back, that's honestly in my mind that's a bigger blow than Jordan Love. Josh Jacobs is kind of the engine that makes that offense run, especially now that the tight end is out for the season, Tucker Kraft. According to a quick Google search, it looks like he is possibly going to play this week, and there's no internal structural damage to his knee, so that's good for the Packers. But anyway, yeah, if Josh Jacobs and the Packers have shown that like they can make what's his name, Malik, what's the backup quarterback, the Malik something or
Malik,
another. I can't think of his last name. The Packers backup quarterback.
why can't I? Yeah, no, I just drew a blank, and all I
Malik
want to say is
Willis.
Malik Neighbors, but that's
Me too.
not,
Malik
him.
Willis.
Willis. That's right. Yep.
The Packers have shown that like last year, Malik Willis played 3 games for the Packers and they won them all, and he looked pretty good. So I don't think Jordan Love being out
No,
is
we
going to hurt
lost
them.
one because he played against the Bears.
Oh well, I meant the games he started earlier. In the
Yes.
season.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I didn't think that they really lost a lot with Jordan Love. I still don't think Jordan Love's that good. So losing Josh Jacobs would hurt that team significantly if it was a serious thing. It doesn't sound like it is, but that's something to
Still,
monitor.
lower body injury for a running back is not through an 18-game season or 17-game season. Not great. Not great to see, and they don't have an easy schedule throughout the rest of the season. So who knows with that? It feels like big injuries are taking away from Green Bay a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But other than the North, which again we're on top of, we're taking back the North. There were a couple of games I saw and I wanted to touch on. First off was the Bucks and Bills game. That was great. Although Baker Mayfield didn't seem like he was as hot as he's been in the past, and I think everything has kind of cooled off on Baker Mayfield since the middle of the season, or the middle start of the season.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, 6 touchdowns, 3 on the ground and 3 in the air. That dude has to be front runner for MVP right now, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, in my mind, it's him and Stafford right now. Honestly, Drake May is getting a lot of buzz for MVP. I don't see it. But I think Josh Allen and Stafford are your 1 and 2 in the clubhouse right now, in my mind.
Yeah. Still a good game. I mean, scored a lot of points.
Yeah, great game. And
What,
the
45
Bucks,
to 33 or something?
yeah, it was 30. It was 44-32 or something like. They won by 12.
Yeah. Okay.
The Bucks had a chance to kind of cut it close down the stretch. I mean, it was a good game. The score, it was not, didn't really show, like, that was a closer game than the score showed.
Yeah. Two teams that relatively look like they should be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Seahawks and Rams was a game for the West that I was very interested in seeing, and then I thought it was going to be a shootout until Sam Darnold showed up, and Sam Darnold did what we all expected Sam Darnold to do. It's kind of like an overlay. So the one thing that I looked at after the game was Sam Darnold has played the Rams twice in the last 4 seasons, and he has a total of 7 turnovers against that team. Wow. Obviously, throwing 4 interceptions in this game. Still, they were in the game down to the end, losing 21-19. Do we take the Rams as a serious top contender in the NFC right now, Nick?
I think you have to. I mean, the offense, the offense is going to get theirs, right? Their offense is loaded. And I didn't really know much about the Rams defense, but you're talking about like the Seahawks the last 2 or 3 weeks have looked like the best offense in the NFL. And you're turning over Sam Darnold 4 times in a game and holding them under 20 points in a game. Like that's quite a an effort out there. So I think the Rams are if I had to power rank the NFC right now, I think I'm starting with the Rams. I think they're number 1 on my power rankings. They're a good team. And again, this isn't just because of my Matt Stafford future. I do think that Matt Stafford is playing at an MVP level this season. But God, I'd love to pay that off because got him plus 500. So it'd be sick.
And it's good money to have.
It's down to like plus 250 now.
Question I have for you, though, really quick is how many seasons does Matt Stafford have left in the tank? Is this potentially the last one? Is this the last hurrah?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know because, it's funny because, I mean, if you've ever watched a Matt Stafford football game or a Dodgers baseball game, you know that him and Kershaw were teammates in high school. Clayton Kershaw, pitcher for the Dodgers, retired recently. Like Clayton Kershaw just retired after like 20 years in the big leagues. They're the same age, and Matt Stafford's like still out there doing it, playing the much more physical of the two sports. It's crazy. Don't know how he's doing it, but if he can stay healthy and play at this level, like I think he's got like 2 or 3 years left at least. Like he's playing at an unbelievable level. But I mean, I do think eventually the injuries are going to compound, and he's going to probably turn to dust on the field in front of us. But yeah, I mean, he's playing really well. If he plays like this, he got a couple of years left at least.
Yeah, not a guy that I would like to see go out to injuries. I liked him when he played for Detroit, although he was playing opposite the Bears a bunch of times, but just seems like a good guy who can run in offense and loves and how do you go wrong with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, and Kyron Williams right there? And
Matt Stafford, by the way, he's one of the toughest guys in the NFL. Like that dude is tough as fuck, and I don't think he gets talked about enough for that. I mean, when he was a rookie and he like dislocated his shoulder and came back in and threw that game-winning touchdown, like that's like. And he hasn't, like, he's a tough guy, and I don't think that gets talked about enough. He is, like, the fact that he's still out there battling every week at, 40? Almost 40? Over 40? I don't know how old he is. Probably over 40. It's crazy.
Yeah. The West, interesting. Very interesting with 3 teams over 500 and seemingly anyone could have up for grabs towards the end of the season. That's the scheduling for all of those looks interesting, but we'll keep an eye on that.
I just Googled Matt Stafford's age. He's younger than I am. God damn it.
Yeah, he is. I don't want to blow it for you, but
God damn it.
It just seems like he's been around forever, but
has,
that's just because we've been around forever.
Yeah.
One other game I wanted to touch on was just Broncos beating the Chiefs. Happy about that. Broncos have played some suspect football over the past couple of weeks. but still own the AFC West right now. They're 8-2, I want to say. That brings them to, I think so.
So
8-2.
8-2 or 9-2. They've only lost 2 games. I know that. I don't know if they've had their bye or not.
Yeah. But that puts them in control of 9-2. You're right. 6-0 at home. Gosh, if the AFC runs through Denver, that's going to be a struggle for a lot of teams just because that place is tough to play in.
Yeah.
And it's great to see the Chiefs finally not be the darlings of the NFL and winning these just games that they shouldn't. I want to ask you, Nick, 5-5, do the Kansas City Chiefs make the playoffs?
Ooh. They're 5-5 right now, right? At 500, which is crazy for the Chiefs. I mean, it's the Chiefs, so I'm going to say yeah. I don't really know what their schedule looks like or what's in front of them. I'll be honest, everyone in the world, I would imagine, probably chalked this game up as a Chiefs win, right? Like, this is like, okay, Broncos, that's a cute start to the season, but the Chiefs are here. They're going to take over the AFC West now. I mean, I think this is kind of the nail in the coffin for the Chiefs for the division. They're not going to win the AFC West unless something crazy happens with both the Broncos and the Chargers the rest of the season. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not ready to say that the Chiefs aren't going to make the playoffs, but I mean, 5-5, that puts them right in the middle of the pack of the AFC. Who knows? But I think they'll probably still find their way in.
Yeah, it's weird. You said remaining schedule. They've got Colts, Cowboys, Texans, Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders. So it looks like there's some games to win there for them, but also some challenges that if the Chiefs really want to, they can make their way into the playoffs easily through a lot of those. I don't know. I'm ready to see that die. I'm ready to see the Chiefs not be the most spoken about team, and I'm ready to hear not a lot out of Chris Collinsworth's mouth about Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, it'll still be there. It'll still be there.
He'll glaze him whenever he can on any game. Doesn't matter.
He's glazing him right now in his sleep.
In the background of the Barely Qualified podcast.
That's right.
Chris
Collinsworth, big listener.
I didn't really have anything else around the league. I had what happened to the Chargers losing 35-6 and Justin Herbert getting pulled, but I don't think that has a lot of relevance. But do you have anything else throughout the league? That's why I was saying, like, this week just seemed really weird and down for the NFL.
I mean, there were a lot of I thought I will. I think I'm gonna stop betting and basing fantasy matchup stuff on any Panthers games ever, because the Panthers are just like the hardest team to like figure out in the NFL. The Panthers some weeks look like the worst team in the NFL, and then not that the Falcons are any good, but my God, I don't understand the Panthers. Like, they should be good. And then when I expect them to be good and bet on them or use some of their players for fantasy purposes, they are terrible. So I'm done with the Panthers. I think they're a fine team, but I'm done trying to figure them out. So that's another thing. I don't understand the Panthers.
It makes sense. Like, you just look at their team, and mainly their quarterback is like, it's Bryce Young.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Right. And I know, okay, Rico Dowdle has been awesome this year. And he actually was okay on the Cowboys last year, but it just like never felt like he was doing well in the Cowboys because the Cowboys were so bad last year. And prior to that, I'd never heard of him. So that's kind of like, Tet McMillan's been good, but then you got Xavier Legette catching passes and stuff now. It's like, I don't even like, this is just like a mismatch of like bad players that are playing good. So I don't know. It's crazy. Doesn't make sense.
Definitely a weird season for that. I mean, Carolina is a game or a half game behind Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
That South seems weird. The NFC East seems like it's defined. NFC West is up for grabs, and the North is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Just the South just looks, when you can play Atlanta twice and you can play New Orleans twice, even though I think you and I were both high on the Atlanta train at the beginning of the season, potentially. Maybe it was just me.
I don't remember. Maybe.
NFC South might just be poo.
Yeah. It usually is. I mean, I do think Tampa's a good team. We talked about them earlier. They are definitely like a no doubt about it belong in the playoffs right now team. But besides them, like yeah, the Panthers, like I said, they can be good and then just terrible. And then I mean the Saints the Saints didn't the Saints beat the Panthers like 2 weeks ago, like last week? Was that am I
They
crazy?
did.
So that's what
The
I'm
Saints
saying.
beat
Like
the Panthers last
The
week.
Panthers are like impossible to figure out because the Saints are so bad. Tyler
Yeah.
Shuck was like carving up the Panthers, and then fucking go to the Falcons, and the Falcons have on paper one of the most dynamic offenses in the league, and they just nothing. So
Didn't show up.
anyway, yeah. So Panthers are weird. Saints stink. The Falcons stink. Like I refuse to believe in the Falcons too. So yeah, the NFC South is bizarre. Like I thought the Panthers and the Saints were going to be like the bottom of the division, and I mean the Saints still obviously, but the Falcons, it's weird. They lost like 8 straight or something like that.
Yeah, it's very weird.
5 straight. I don't know what the number is.
Especially with Penix getting injured and Kirk Cousins coming into that game.
I don't know,
Probably
weird
not what you want to
situation
see as an Atlanta fan. But wanted to really quickly throw to you. We're past the halfway mark of the season. Rubber meets the road with some of these playoff teams. We're looking AFC, we're looking NFC. Do you see anyone standing out other than the Bears in the NFC as a potential contender that needs to be watched? Because there's a lot of teams. What, you go down 9 teams above 500, and an additional 7 not above 500. Other than the Bears, is there a team to watch out for that might come through the end of the season and make the playoffs here?
So you're saying a team that's like not in the playoffs right now that I think could make the playoffs?
Yeah, or just on the cusp, just at 7, just in the wild card that could stand out a little bit more.
I mean, the easy answer right now, the Lions are on the outside looking into the playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Lions are 8th. So obviously, I think the Lions are a better team than the 49ers. But I mean, once you get past the Lions at 8, you got the Panthers, the Vikings, the Cowboys, and the Cardinals. So I don't really believe in any of those teams. I think those teams are not very good. I still think when I look at the NFC, my first thought is that I think the Rams are going to win the NFC. I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC. So it doesn't really answer your question. I think the Lions will get that 7th spot over the 49ers if it comes to that. In my opinion, the Rams are the class of the NFC. Last year they played the Eagles the best, and I think they're a better team than the Eagles are this year. If they can all stay healthy, I think the Rams are the best team in the NFC.
They played them in that Snow Bowl in Philadelphia, and they win this conference, and they get them in LA. I guarantee you it's a much different game that would be played, in a much more controllable game for McVay and Stafford and all of their pieces that they have. So no, I like that. I do. There's something weird about Kyle Shanahan maybe being in his last stint with the 49ers. I do think that the 49ers are a team to look out for, and I'm scared that the Bears still do have to play against them. If you can get that much out of Mac Jones through the early part of the season, and you see Brock Purdy come back, and as strong as he came back this week, that's a scary team for me. Very scary team. I know they're playing in a very contested division, but I definitely am scared to play them in the second to last week of the season for sure.
Yeah. I mean, what I would love to see happen is I would love to see the Lions and the 49ers make the playoffs and then see the Packers get bumped out. That would make me the happiest person in the world. So,
yeah. No. That's last thing. I do have a last thing.
Okay.
Is what's up with the spitting this year?
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
I don't think I've ever seen like a not that this has to be like Spitgate or anything like that throughout this season, but I don't think I've ever seen that more focused on Jamar Chase. If nobody else listened or saw this week, spit on Jalen Ramsey when they were getting into, their normal hand fighting, talking, whatever, in a game that was an absolute blowout for Pittsburgh. what is going on? Like, what makes a grown man want to spit on another man in a football game? Like, Nick, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've never spit on a man before. I don't know. It's very disrespectful. So I guess that's, trying to be as ultimate. I feel like spitting on someone is about as disrespectful as you can be to somebody. So I think that, something to do with it. But yeah, I don't know. I've never, the closest I've ever come to spitting on another human being was one time in beer league softball. I took out a piece of gum I was chewing on and threw it at the umpire because he called me out, and I did not care for that. But I've never spit on another man before, so I don't know. That's I don't love it because I have Jamar in a couple fantasy leagues, so that sucks for me because I am like scrapping and clawing for playoff spots right now, and missing my only good player in a couple leagues is not going to help that. So I don't care for it. But yeah, it's wild because then you think back to the first game of the season, right? The Eagles, Jalen Carter, he spit on Dak Prescott and he got suspended for a game, basically 2 games because he got ejected from that game and and that was before the first play, so he was basically out for 2 games. So yeah, weird.
I don't get it. Like, just keep your liquid in your mouth. It's fine. Like, it doesn't have to. Doesn't have to ever get to that point, but it seems like sometimes when tensions boil over in the NFL, weird things happen. Not a lot of injuries that I was seeing that really brought into relevance this week. Obviously, you had some of the Green Bay injuries. Joe Alt got injured for the Chargers and has been out and deemed out. Who is the other? Lane Johnson. That's right. For the Eagles. He was out earlier this year, is going to be out for a long term with them, which is great because we get to see them without Lane Johnson if we can hopefully rush the passer. But that's really all we got around the league, unless you had anything else to touch on, Nick.
No, I don't think so. I mean, the only game I don't think we touched on was the Commanders Dolphins, and I don't think we really need to. So, nope, I'm good.
Welcome to Spain. That was a weird one.
That was weird. Although, actually, one thing about that game, did you see the feature about like their grass and how they like do their grass at the stadium in Spain for I think it's Barcelona FC or some soccer team?
No, fill me in.
Or Madrid. Were they in Madrid or Barcelona? Doesn't matter. They would, so basically this field the soccer field that they played the football game on, they have this new like probably like $1 billion technology where like literally after the game's over, the field splits up into, it's real grass. It's like not turf, it's real grass. The field like breaks up into these like 6 like giant plates. And then those giant plates like go under the stadium in this like 100-foot well that's like built under the stadium. And under the stadium is like this like state-of-the-art like greenhouse essentially. So like the grass has this like perfect environment to regrow in throughout the week. Doesn't need any rain or anything like that because they have like, irrigation systems and stuff. It's like top of the line cutting edge technology for grass, which is hilarious that was like the big takeaway from that game was like, holy shit, they really know what they're doing over there for grass. So yeah, I would love for Kevin Warren to kind of take a note of that. That would be sweet to like have the Bears field like be like elite grass versus Soldier Field, which is one of the
investigate. Well, it shows when you have the number one sport in the world and how much money that just funnels through European football, if you will. Just what you can get. That's crazy. I didn't see that.
You should check it out. It's wild. It's crazy.
We know all about obviously being in Chicago, we know about the replaceable floors with the ice in the UC versus, the basketball stadium, but grass and greenhouse underneath.
It's wild. Man. It's crazy. It's like a engineering marvel. It's very cool.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's going to do around the league. We're going to get into the podium list. We'll see what we're going to do since we don't have Jay on the edge of this. I think it's just going to be a Nick and me podium list. But really quickly, I'll tell you the podium list this week is probably fueled by the fizz of Glen Rock Pop. It's Lake County's legendary soda revival, crafted with pure cane sugar poured into glass bottles and bursting with nostalgic flavor. Glen Rock is more than just a drink, it's a hometown icon. Whether you're sipping on orange, cream soda, or Nick's personal MVP, the all-new lime, Glen Rock is bringing the joy back to every corner of Lake County. Want to catch their pop-up trailer in action? Follow Glen Rock Pop on Facebook for the latest event stops. Ready to stock up? Head to glenrockpop.com to find retailers near you. From tailgates to game days, Glen Rock Pop is the ultimate sideline sip. Don't just drink, celebrate. All right. So we are going to go into the topic. I had a topic, Nick. I was going into, the realm of firsts with Nate, first child coming in. I was going to go into, first most celebrated events that you've ever had or experiences. Decided to just go ahead and take a left turn on that and go into something that's a little bit more simple. We're going into the best cereals this week. Kind of goes around the realms of best sandwiches that we had last week. Since we don't have Jay this week, we're going to go gold, silver, bronze of Nick, Drew, then Drew, Nick, then Nick, Drew. So, Nick, I'm going to give you the floor first. Give me your best cereal here.
All right. So right off the bat, there's some of the more adult cereals that don't have as much sugar and stuff in it. I don't think I'm going to have any of those on my list. This is going to be exclusively like kids, like marketed towards kids cereal with all the sugar in the world. I don't eat a lot of these anymore. I try, but recently my wife and I, we were at Walmart and we didn't have the kids with us for some reason. And we bought some Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries, and we have been going to town on those. So that's number one for me. Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries is elite, and eat it dry, put it in milk, whatever you want. It's so good. It's just, oh God, it's the best. So that's easy number one for me. That was my favorite when I was a kid. I don't know if you're going to go Captain Crunch at all, but I also love the peanut butter Captain Crunch back in the day. That was always good too. But I'm going to specifically take the Crunch Berries.
So are you going Oops All Berries, or are you going Captain Crunch
with Crunch? Yeah, Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries.
Oops
All Crunch Berries is good, but it's a little much.
Yeah. It doesn't have that nostalgic taste to it with the regular Captain Crunch that's going to break up the inside of your mouth a little bit.
It will. Yeah, you're going to bleed. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Fiberglass. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
No, that's a great pick. Captain Crunch in its own realm is great, but then you put the berries in there. I love the yellow box. I think we have kind of a topic that we were thinking of for future with maybe the best mascots of cereal, but Captain Crunch goes out there big time.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I did have that up there, some form of Captain Crunch. I'm going to go with another Crunch cereal, and I'm going with Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That would have been my second pick. It would have been my pick if you took that one first, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, something about just drinking that cereal milk. I mean, a lot of these do have to do with cereal milk, and I don't know if you've seen it lately, Nick. I don't know if you're a Dunkin' fan. Dunkin' has come out with a latte or just coffee with cereal milk. And if that was going to be my top, like the cereal milk that you could include in a coffee or as a creamer or anything, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is going to be that one of one for sure. But albeit the cereal itself, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is just, it's amazing. I could eat it anytime. You could eat a handful of it. I don't even need it in milk too.
Yeah, same. It's good stuff. That's a regular breakfast for the kids in the morning. We get the Aldi brand because it's cheaper, but we do that as a regular in our house. We always have a box of it in the house. It's, can't go wrong. It's classic for a reason. It's so good.
Yeah. All right. So I'll go into silver. Silver, it's interesting because I could go, there's a lot of things that bring a cereal together for me, but I'm going to be a plain person because it brought a lot of nostalgia to me as a person. It was a cereal that only my father would buy because he's a health nut. And I'm going with your standard. You can call me out, fans. Please do. But I'm going with Cheerios. Just
Regular
the Cheerios.
The yellow
Straight up
box,
Cheerios.
regular Cheerios.
Just not even Honey Nut, nothing else. Just give me a Cheerios. You want something that is just a hearty-ish meal for breakfast with your grains, get everything you need. Give me a Cheerio. Give me a Cheerio for sure. Maybe throw a little raisins in there if you want. You don't even have to balance it out with that. But Cheerios, I'm going number 2. Call me out, though, fans.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
I did not see that coming. I didn't.
I didn't think it would.
Because I was thinking about saying Honey Nut Cheerios here because I love Honey Nut Cheerios.
Okay.
I'm not going to because I think that would just clash and it would just be weird. So I'm gonna stay away from that. But I've never been a Cheerio. Like again, I try and stay away from the healthy, good for you breakfast cereals. I kind of go, and Honey Nut Cheerios is the closest I get to that. But anyway, that threw me a little bit. But no,
I'll put you in a blender for a second.
Yeah, absolutely. Where did my list go? I had a list. The fuck did it go? Oh, whatever. Okay, here we go. All right. I basically have 2 that are almost exactly the same. I'm just gonna go with the more classic. Give me all the dyes, every dye you can possibly imagine. I'm taking Fruit Loops here with my second pick. I don't care what's in them; they're delicious. I will eat them. Same thing as Captain Crunch with me. Like I can eat this in milk as a cereal. I could literally have like the box next to me when I'm watching TV and just kind of like grab a handful at a time and just and put it in my mouth. So, Fruit Loops, Elite, Toucan Sam, the whole shebang.
Oh, how could you not?
Yeah.
Even though it seems like every single Fruit Loop tastes the same, it's still a different bite every time you get it.
Yeah.
Great. It's a great pick. And they're gonna deceive you, making it seem like it's fruit, but that's 2 O's in it, not FRUIT.
Correct. There's no
2
false
O's
advertising there. It's not fruit. It's fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. You give me your last one.
My last one, man. These are going to be a little redundant, but that's okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pivot a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna pivot a little bit.
Nothing wrong.
This is a cereal. I ate this a lot when I was a kid. This is a cereal that I mean, if I were to come across it, I don't even know if they make it anymore. But when I was a kid, I loved these. So I'm gonna take Apple Jacks. I loved Apple Jacks. I love apple flavored pretty much anything. So Apple Jacks.
Much better than Apple Smacks.
Apple Smacks were trash, yeah. And Honey Smacks, all the Smacks trash.
Yes. Any of the Smacks, any of those, like, but you just give me the Apple Jacks standard circular food. Yeah. Boom. Done. Great pick. I'm going last of all of these. Something I only got, again, being from a healthy household, I didn't get a lot of these chances, but whenever this was graced upon me, it was something that was devoured, probably by me. And my sister was unfortunate that she didn't get to it because I would eat like 7 bowls of this and then drink the milk like it was everything. Give me Cookie Crisp. Dude,
Crisp was good.
Cookie Crisp. Those things were like a delicacy in my household whenever they showed up. If they showed up, they were gone within the weekend.
Yep.
For sure.
That was a good one for sure. I definitely I didn't eat a lot of cereal, but like when I think about my childhood, I didn't remember eating a lot of cereal, but every single pick on here is like, oh yeah, I ate a lot of those when I was a kid. So maybe I did eat more cereal than I thought I did. But
so
yeah,
maybe I
Crisp,
did. Maybe I did.
Cookie Crisp, classic. I mean, cookies and milk, can't go wrong. Cookie Crisp, delicious. Love it. Chocolate chip cookies. So
all right, we'll put that out. Maybe we'll get Jay's input to some of the things that we missed. Maybe you guys throw us some of the things that we missed. Just a really quick one for the podium list this week. And we're going to get into the review the preview on Thursday for the game against the Steelers. But Nick, really quickly, want to give the floor to you on closing thoughts this week.
Yeah. So my closing thoughts are just generally speaking, my kids are getting, just my oldest specifically, my 7-year-old son, he is getting to a point in his life where he likes sports, not just like is around me when I watch them, but like genuinely seeks it out and likes sports. Um, if he's not asking me what football game's on that night, he's downstairs in the basement playing Madden or college football 26. We invented this, it's not really invented, but we came up with this game. We have like one of those like what do you call it, like play school like basketball hoops in our house, like with the little, like the little like 2.5 foot, 3 foot ones. And we play this game where basically I get to sit on the couch and shoot the ball at the basket and he has to try and catch it. And if I make it over him, I get a point. And if he catches it, he gets a point. And we play this game for hours. It's actually a lot of fun. And obviously there's trash being talked mainly from me to him, but I'm getting pretty good at it. He's getting really good at it. And it's actually cool because one thing, he's been playing baseball for the past few years, but his like hand-eye coordination isn't quite there yet. So like this game is also like he's tracking the ball, he's learning to catch it, he's using both hands. So it's kind of like I'm kind of trying to teach him more like cross sport stuff as well, without him really knowing it and him like playing a fun game in his mind. So
Yeah.
it's been like we've been doing this for about the past like month or two, but it's been a lot of fun and he's getting into it. Also, he's like every Monday morning, he's like, "Who won the game last night?" Like that's like the first question he asked me in the morning. Tomorrow morning, I don't know if he'll care too much. He didn't really care about the Cowboys or the Raiders, but he's kind of a Lions fan, which is
Okay.
weird. But I think it's just the colors and they're good and all that stuff. But anyway, so yeah, it's just like a fun age where like he's actively participating in and wants to be around sports all the time. He's begging me to take him to like Bulls games, Blackhawks games, all this stuff. So it's just my closing thought is that it's fun to be in this spot where it's not me forcing him to watch sports with me. It's like him actively seeking it out now. So
Yeah. I can't wait for that age.
it's the best.
Obviously got to soak every moment up, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna probably go upstairs and see my son crying his eyes out and can't wait for him to be 15, 16 and neglect his father and not want to listen to him at all, which we'll all get into, which is going to bring me into my closing thought of now being a new father as of 5 days, 6 days now. I am I'm tired. I think we all have gotten to that point. You have been at that point. I've heard so many things about this first week and first couple of weeks of being a parent, of how much it just kind of drains you. And it's turned a different angle for me of being like, yes, I need to soak up every single moment of these because I don't know when it's going to pass me by. And yes, I'm very, very, very ripe to all of this, but my main closing thought is just soak up every single moment that you can, either with your kids, with the people that you want to be in, be happy with what you're doing, because you never know when that can just be taken from you. And that's not to get too grim, just more of like a, hey, let's all have fun. Let's be ourselves.
It's a nice reminder.
Yeah, exactly. Let's soak it all up. Because we're only here for we're here for a short time, not a long time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with.
I meant to ask you, I'm curious because both of my boys were born in the spring. So we weren't on this like short daylight schedule that we're on right now. I remember the 2 weeks because both my kids, I took 2 weeks off work. And I just remember in those 2 weeks, I never knew what time it was or what, like if it was like 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon or whatever. Like I can only imagine with it be getting dark at like 4:30 that's just probably times 10 right now.
The only thing that yes, I don't know what time it is. Obviously, I know what time it is because I can see a clock any time, but my body just doesn't understand what time it is.
Yeah.
And Nick, one thing that I didn't know, and I wish I would have known ahead of time, just so I could prep my own mind, is that newborns are nocturnal creatures.
Oh yeah.
So meaning their time when they want to be up is when we should be asleep. And that hurts a little
Yeah.
bit, but we're getting through, and we will get through. We'll prevail. It's just a fun little thing to wake up and see. Like I've never been a morning person, but I'm a morning person now because that's the only time that I can really soak up a good experience with my son. He might be sleeping. He might just kind of throw me some smiles, but at night it's an absolute grind. So, but we're having fun.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
You gotta
for sure.
do it. It's part of it's part of the whole experience.
Exactly. Wouldn't have it any other way. But that's going to do it for Barely Qualified podcast this week. Go Bears. We're 7-3. Everyone out there, if you're not positive about the Bears right now, you gots to be, because this is a season worth tracking. This is a season worth having positivity. For Nick, I appreciate you for being here. I'm Drew Bailey. Jason Maxwell couldn't join us tonight, but we'll catch him on the flip side as well for our preview show of the Steelers-Bears game this week. Thank you all for joining, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Thank you for listening to the Barely Qualified podcast. Like, comment, subscribe for more on a bi-weekly basis.